Okay, yeah, good evening, guys. So let me do a summary on SMS, right? Shift of market structure, shift of market structure, shift of market, shift of market structure, right? Yeah, so black, okay. Yeah, so let's have let's have scenarios like this, right? Scenarios like this. We'll see this thing clearly, right? Yeah, so regarding from last video, you should be able to tell what a shift of market structure is, right? Yeah, so, but then let me recap on it again, understanding market structure, shift of, okay, let me get this thing to black. Shift of market structure. So, for an uptrend, right, you have things like this, higher highs, and when price wants to reverse an SMS, it won't create a higher high, instead it will create a lower high and then break this low. And then here you could actually say the SMS has occurred at this point, right? Here is a shift of market structure where the SMS occurred. Then we can say let's start selling down to the downside, right? Yeah, so let's start selling down to the downside. So now this point where market failed to create a higher high, instead it created a lower high, it's your SMS right here. So market, instead of creating a higher low, it created a lower low by breaking this low. So this point is your SMS. This region, this is your SMS right here. So SMS, shift of market structure, middle. So at this point, this is where the SMS occurred right here. So this was the last high that failed to create another higher high, and you have a higher low right here. So this is where the point of SMS occurred, right? And the opposite goes for a downtrend, for an uptrend, right? So we want to reverse from an uptrend, right? Price coming from a downtrend, and when we want to reverse, instead of creating a lower high, price creates something like this, and we start to reverse from there, right here. So we create an SMS here. This your point of SMS, right? Where we fail to create a lower low, instead we created a higher low, and then we started breaking high. So this is your point of shift of market structure in the chart, right here. So your SMS is here. Your SMS is at this point, right? And then we broke a high. So, and this is your BOS, right here. So your BOS, this is your BOS. So that is your BOS, the point, this point here, right? Your BOS at this point. And same thing comes for here. Here is your BOS, right? BOS. So while saying this thing, try to backtest everything you've been taught as hard as you can. Yeah, so you get familiar with them. So now let's look into more advanced structure of SMS, right? Yeah, so we can see structures like this. I mean, now I'm looking at structures that has to do with what you see on the charts, right? Structures that has to do with what you see on the charts, not just this kind of structures, right? Yeah, so because price we like. Okay, the thing about SMS, you will hardly see it in price these days. Yeah, it's hardly seen. But then when you see them, it's something you should know that this is an SMS, and don't try to trade them more frequently. Yeah, so let's try to label things here. Right, yeah, so I need to get this thing here. So then, yeah, so let's look at more advanced structures of SMS. This is your range for a downtrend, right? Your downtrend range. So when you reach here, we may like to reverse to the upside. Yeah, so this is an example I want to show you right here. So the chart doesn't give you smooth things like this. But now let's try to mark all these examples. Let's try to mark all these examples, right? Here is your BOS. Here is your BOS, right? We may be better off. Okay, here is your BOS clone, right? You had another BOS at this point. I'm trying to combine everything, right? Yeah, so here is another BOS. We kept on breaking lows for a downtrend. Kept on breaking lows for a downtrend. And here is another BOS. Clone. Here is another BOS right here. So even while we are creating this BOS, you could see higher highs and higher lows. So now let's do something. Let's do something. Yeah, so I'll be cloning this into 4. Yeah, so this will be higher high, right? Yeah, so this will be higher high and it will be taken into consideration. How do I get to move a high right here? So this is a higher high at this point, right? Sorry, this is a higher low. Let me get all the markings higher. Let me get all the markings ready. So yeah, so this is a higher, a lower high, right? And let's get this way. This is a lower low. Yeah, so now let's start putting everything where they should be, right? This is your lower high at this point, right? Your lower high, this low here, right? You had another lower high, right? And here is your lower low. Here is a lower low, right? And you had another lower low because we are breaking lows. So you had another lower low at this point, right here. So here is your lower clone, clone. Okay, so here is your lower low, right? So why here becomes the lower high. Why here becomes, okay, here is a lower high, lower low, lower high, and a lower low here, right here. So we had another lower high. Oh, sorry. I made that crazy sound. Yeah, so here is a lower high, right? And here is a lower low. So I'm trying to mark everything. Here now we didn't have a BOS, like how I marked here BOS. We didn't have a BOS here because we didn't break structure, right? We didn't break structure, we didn't break this low. Unless I could have marked this as a BOS like I marked others, right? And we had our lower high here. What did we have? We created a high higher than this high, and this is your higher high. This high here, this high is higher than this previous high, right? Here, so here becomes your, oh my God, did I just cancel that? Back. Yeah, so here becomes your higher high. Clones have to make use of this. Yeah, so here becomes your higher high. And in an uptrend, we've changed movement here. So we've broken this high at this point right here. So let me mark here. I could have marked here as a BOS, but then there is a reason why I want to mark here as BOS. When we reach change of character, you know why. So here I'll mark here as your higher high because this high is higher than this high, right? And we had a BOS at this high. We had a BOS at this high, right? Yeah, so we had a BOS at this high. So, so we had a BOS at this side, and this is your higher low now. This becomes your higher low. And you know why this is your higher low? Because this is your lower high, your higher low. This high is higher than this one, right here. So, and this didn't break structure to call it, this one didn't break structure to call it a lower low. And hence, it is higher than this previous low. That is why it's your higher low, right here. So we had your BOS here. And we are seeing an uptrend. This thing is a fractal structure, just minor structure, right here. So this is a fractal structure in price. All of those little price movements. The bigger structure is this one's not I'm marking. So these are your fractal structure. These are your fractal structure, right here. So yeah, and having series of liquidity. So now here is your BOS and what we call a demand zone when we reach other block, right here. So we had our mitigation here. We had our mitigation here before it went to the upside. So now with all these things I've labeled, you could see that price failed to create a lower high at this point and it created a higher low. So now this thing looks like this is your SMS here, right? Look at this thing. This is your SMS at this region, your shift of market structure, right? This is your SMS at this point, right? This is where your shift of market structure occurred. The point where price failed to create a lower low and then created a higher low, right? The 2 points right here. So this is your SMS. Yeah, so and if I'm to invert this thing, you take the same structure, right? But then we don't trade SMS, yeah. But it's just to understand the concept here. So there is your SMS at that point. And then we had price mitigating from the demand zone sponsored by this break of market structure, and we happen to move to the upside. Yeah, so and this is your BOS again. Clone. This is your BOS. Yeah, we broke structure. This time we broke structure. Yeah, so it's more of like price continuing to go up and up. We broke structure and I don't want to mark all of these things here. So now you could see the major structures I've marked out for you guys. The major structure. And as here is your okay, I forgot to put here as a new higher high. I think this is the last higher high that comes. Okay, it's not. Yeah, so You had your higher high here and your higher low at this point. And your higher low at this point. Right here. So this is your higher low. And then you had another higher high here. Yeah, so obviously this is what you have on the chart. This is what you have on the chart. I'm not looking at these minor structures there, right? I'm not looking at these minor structures there. These minor structures, this all these fractal structures. I'm not looking at them, right? I'm looking at the bigger view of the chart here. So these are your structure is. So this is more of like a summary of what you have in SMS. I just added all the things I've taught you guys, lower highs and lower lows, BOS, SMS, all together, except from this demand zone. That is why I didn't mark some of the things here, liquidity and all, change of pattern. Also, this is what you have in your charts, and this is how it looks like, right? Yeah, so if I try to invert it, it goes the opposite direction. Yeah, so you can take a look at this and try to study it well. Yeah, so this is my summary on SMS, and no big thing on SMS. And then I saw an SMS on BTC charts. Look at this shift of market structure at this point, where price failed to create a lower high, a lower low, right? Instead, it created a higher low, right? It created a higher low. Your point of SMS is at this point, and you had your BOS at this point, right here. So this is your SMS. Mark them well, please. This is your SMS. This is your SMS at this point. Yeah, you hardly see SMS, but then when you see them, never forget to say this is what you know. Never forget to spot them. Yeah, to spot them well. And this is your BOS in the chart. Your BOS. So, and this is your BOS. So you could see that this is your SMS and your BOS. Likely, let me don't try to speculate price movements, but then we could see some down movements later on here. So why I say, okay, I made mention of not trading SMS. Okay, this is what you should know about shift of market structure. When you talk about liquidity, liquidity has to do with equal highs and lows. Equal highs and lows, right? Yeah, so meaning, yeah, so a region of liquidity has to do with equal highs and lows. And those region, you find out that shift of market structure has equal lows. Yeah, these lows, when I make the line to be slants, right, dynamic, you see that these lows are equal. Yeah, and liquidity always been taken out. But then I'm just briefing you. So price is likely to take out liquidity before going to the other side of your predictions, right? Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why we don't trade SMS, because of the fear of liquidity grab, which is proving that price will come and grab liquidity and start going to your direction. So that is why we don't trade SMS. But then it's something you have to take note of, right here. So it's been working before the it has been working before what we call as all these liquidity hunts that started becoming common started occurring. Yeah, so that is it for it. And I'll be ending this very soon. Yeah, so we had a change of character here. I won't mention that. Yeah, so change of character at this point. And this is more of like a confirmation entry, right? Yeah, so your confirmation entry for a trade. Yeah, so recall that your chart, you can't spot things as easy as target the higher assertive. So anything you are going to be doing, anything you are going to be doing in the charts, it's what something I could show you here. But then, okay, so here is the SMS. Let's see if we can see some. Yeah, so that is it for shift of market structure. Shift of market structure. The market is quite creepy. Like that's creepy. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, we can't see nice structure. So It's been happening and it's been happening. We have one here, but then this one didn't play right here. So situation where price creates lower highs and lower lows, fails to create another low, then goes to the upside, and we had a mitigation. But the problem here now is that this mitigation didn't last right here. So this is your downtrend, right? Taking our lows, taking our lows swiftly right here. So this is a break of market structure with weak at this point right here. So a BOS with weak, and we had another one, a BOS right here. So here now we didn't take out this low. And what did we take out? We took out the high, and price came back, mitigated this thing. But then your normal target would have been that top, right? Would have been aiming to TP at this region. We have been aiming to TP at this region, right? But then see how price swept it. So it's not something that, but then it's what 1:4. It's even made up to 1:4. But then, yeah, so this is just a little example. Price only display that pattern right here. So one at this point, yeah. So take note of everything. Take note of every single thing. When you see them, you can tell right here. So we had another here, or we had one here. Then price didn't mitigate that one before flying. Yeah, we had one here. Okay, it got mitigated. So let's look at this structure now. This was where if you look at my Twitter, right, I dropped a setup yesterday. So we are breaking lows. But at this point, this was an SMS, like a point of SMS to see how risky it is. I didn't take the trade because it didn't the lows there were too much. Yeah, so I felt like price missed it too. But then price broke structure, and what happened? This is your valid demand zone, right? The fact that price tapped on it. Okay, let me use 15 minutes time frame. Was it 15 minutes time frame or 30 minutes time frame? Let me see 5 minutes time frame. Not five, maybe three. Yeah, exactly. So you can see your point of SMS right there. So your point of SMS occurred at that region. In lower time frame, you will see the SMS very well. But then let's say this was the SMS, but then this is the SMS I chose to use right here. So the SMS here and the minor break of market structure. So I had to use this demand zone, right? I bought using this demand zone to the upside, and that was how we got our I made use of this demand zone, and I targeted just 1:5. Yeah, so that was how I got to get that entry from. Well, then look at where prices fly to. So this is it on shift of market structure. We had another one here, right? We had another one. Price failed to create okay, so this one played at this point because we had almost two there, right here. So, but then we didn't break structure yet. So price failed to create a higher high. Instead, we took out the structure, right? This is your point of SMS. This is your point of SMS, or you could actually mark, since there are 3 weeks there, you can actually mark these ones your SMS. But you could see how risky this SMS is because all these things are equal lows. So price will easily sweep them out. But then this one respected, right here. So price respected it and we sold to the downside. Price sold from this other block, right here. So and we sold to the downside. So this is a structure on SM. And look at as we are selling to that downside, what was happening? We are breaking lows. To see that it's rhymed with the structures I drew. Let me go back to that structure. Yeah, so we are breaking lows. So your take profit target will be this low, right? Or you can actually set a take profit target in a demand zone, this demand zone, knowing that maybe because you don't know what will happen. So Either you set it at this other block here, but then it's preferable to set them at a low here, because price will sweep this low since it is in a downtrend. A downtrend, price will be creating lower highs and lower lows. So you are expecting price to create a lower low to sweep this low here, and then TP will be taken out. So if I'm to invert this thing, let's invert, right? It's more of like this crazy structure I do for you guys. Here's that structure. Okay, so yeah, so these are SMS. Had a break of market structure. Price came back, mitigated the and sold to the low, kept on breaking lows, right? Yeah, so here we had a little SMS at this point, right? Yeah, so we had the little SMS at this point. We had a little SMS at this point. Remember, this entry here was gotten from a 1 minute time frame. I'm not trying to tell you to trade 1 minute time frame. I'm using 1 minute time frame to show you examples, since higher time frame couldn't display some of these things right here. So that is your shift of market structure and how they are. So let's go back to the higher time frame we are at right here. So taking a look at this structure one more time. Yeah, so everything here is what you is me compiling your lower highs and lower lows, break of market structure, higher highs and higher lows, and shift of market structure right here. So I'll be ending this section, and I'll be giving you you guys assignments. Go to your chart, spot SMS. Yeah, just spot an SMS on your chart and tell me what you observed there. I won't be typing the assignments. Yeah, so go to your chart, spot an SMS, and tell me what you observed. Yeah, so likely you can try to mark some things here like I've done here. Yeah, so yeah, and submit the assignments. This week we're entering, we're going to change of character. Yeah, we talk about entry points, right? Yeah, so other blocks and also, yeah, I'll be ending this here. Take care.